Welcome back to the channel, Manny B Investing in BI, and we are taking a look at a tweet from Input Output HK or IOHK or IOG, Input Output Global, however you want to say it. But the tweet, as we enter the basho phase of Cardano development, we'll be focusing on optimization and scalability. Here are some of the adjustments and innovations, 11 in fact, that will all play their part in steadily increasing capacity through 2022. Ready? 11 ways. Let's take a look at the article. Scroll up to the top here. We got Tim Harrison, Marketing and Communications Director. He should be familiar if you've looked at any of the 360 videos or pretty much any of the media. IOHK media, you should see his familiar face there. We appreciate all the things that Tim is doing to change the world of finance for everyone. Let's get into the content here. The Cardano project has always been committed to addressing the classic blockchain trilemma: scalability, security, and importantly, decentralization. As the organization tasked with creating the core platform, we have always pursued a defined, clearly staged roadmap to deliver on the Cardano's capability and fulfill its long-term potential. Now, for those of you that have watched the Charles Hoskinson Dan interview, towards the end, Charles kind of started to talk about the trilemma and that he had his own trilemma that did not include the typical, scalability, security, and decentralization. He kind of veered off and was talking about like a governance, more along the lines of governance. He really wanted that to be a part of the trilemma. And he was working to solve that by having a voting center, giving everyone a voice, giving everyone a vote on what happens on the blockchain's development, features, etc. He really believes that Bitcoin kind of dropped the ball on that. And that's the reason why a lot of us, or a lot of people, say that Bitcoin is more of a cult than a blockchain because of that. If you can't change the blockchain over time as the world has new and improved demands, then what's the point of all of this? It needs to be able to scale to people that it serves. Bitcoin is kind of not doing that anymore. Utilizing formal deployment methods in Haskell code with deep roots into peer-reviewed academic approach, we have delivered a robust, secure platform fit for the future. Built for correctness, we name this phase Byron. An incredible community has grown up around our endeavors, and through a network of some 3,000 stake pool operators, we now have one of the most decentralized proof-of-stake networks in the world. This era was decentralization, and stake pools we named Shelley, after poet and political radical Percy Bysshe Shelley. Goguen, which included the Alonzo hard fork event, brought with it core smart contract capability, paving the way for DeFi and dApps. With initial Plutus capability now deployed, we continue to evolve the expressiveness of the Plutus language and the overall proportion in collaboration with the growth community of developers. It's a proposition in collaboration with growing community of developers. Now, as we enter the basho stage, we're investing further energy into optimizing and scaling, building on these foundations and steadily increasing capacity and throughput to deal with the growth in the dApp ecosystem, the onboard for first hundreds of thousands, then millions of the new users, from DeFi degens to citizens of developing nations. So this is the era they're building. They're building this platform out. Like I said, when people were talking about, ADA's going to 100, that is not the mission. ADA being $100 means that either the entire world has accepted cryptocurrency or the project failed. The coin was not built to just pump. The coin was built to be used by developing nations. If the developing nations can't afford the token, then the project's a failure. During the course of this year, starting right now, we'll be pursuing this next phase of our mission. Perimeter adjustments, improvements, enhancements, and other innovations will all play a part in steadily increasing Cardano's capacity and throughput during 2022, while maintaining the considered safe approach that has served us to date. Yes, we anticipate periods of high demand, network congestion at times. We're on an exciting journey and usage will be high. While we may at times feel impatient, this is the way. Here's how we will optimize and scale as we grow. So they have a plan. Ethereum doesn't have a plan. They didn't have one. They kind of develop until they hit a wall, then they pivot, and then develop until they hit a wall, then they pivot, and then so on and so forth. But when I say pivot and then move on, they haven't really been moving on. They've kind of pivoted once, and now they're kind of stuck in the same spot. We're all waiting for 2.0. And I'm not an Ethereum hater. I want 2.0 to come. I want it to be successful. If Ethereum fails, we all fail. We want Ethereum to be successful. But let's take a look at these on-chain solutions. Block size increase. Look at this. The bigger the block, the more transaction it can carry. Block size was recently increased by 8 KB to 72 KB, a 12.5 increase. Further increases will be applied over time based on ongoing system monitoring and overall network health. We've got pipelining. Improves block propagation times by coalescing, I hope I said that right. Coalescing validation and propagation. The goal is for the blocks to be propagated to at least 95% of peers within 5 seconds by reducing the dead time between blocks, the block propagation overhead. This provides the headroom to make more aggressive scaling changes, such as increasing block size, increasing Plutus parameter limits. So it's like, highway, right? You take the highway, you want to build a lane, but you don't want to build too many lanes, right? Because you don't know what the traffic's going to do. You want traffic to flow efficiently. So it's like if you were, you had a town that was growing. This town is growing. It's expanding as the economy grows, right? The economy growing are, users, us, you and I, starting to use the blockchain more and more as new dApps start to come into play, platforms start to come into play. But then you look and you start your planning. Hey, we planned for this to happen. We knew that this community was going to grow. We knew that it was going to expand fast. So you purchase the land, right? You start planning. How big is this highway going to be? It's going to be 3 lanes. It's going to be 4 lanes. So you say, hey, at the end of development, it's going to be a 5-lane highway, but you don't build all those lanes right away. That would cause a problem. You want to scale it. See, scaling. You want to scale that solution. So you add 1 additional lane with plans to add an additional one down the line as things continue to grow. So this is what Cardano's doing. They're scaling the block size, they're scaling propagation times, and they have peer-reviewed research that proves that these things are the way. That's why they keep saying the way. Input endorsers. Input endorsers improve block propagation times and throughput by allowing transactions to be separated into pre-constructed blocks. This improves the consistency of block propagation times and allows higher transaction rates. So that's when you're getting more bang for your buck. Memory CPU parameters for Plutus. Memory usage is more efficient across the chain. Specifically, there are memory improvements in upspin transaction output, UTXO. Handling stake distribution, live stake distribution, and pools, and hash representation. So this stuff is going to improve performance, like at your wallet. You're going to see, when the network is really hit, especially you URI users, you really feel it. Like it's hard to load your balances. It takes a really long time to see your staking, your stake rewards, your delegation amounts. These things are going to help that out big time. Plutus script enhancements, even more effective usage of a powerful EUTXO model through smart contract optimization, including so that EUTXO, that extended upspin transaction output, that is what Cardano is all about. The UTXO, it's similar to like Bitcoin. So that's why, when people say Cardano is the dream of Satoshi, right? Not Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the beginning. You need evolution. You need to grow. You need to scale. I don't think Bitcoin is scaling. Do you think Bitcoin is scaling? Bitcoin doesn't even have smart contracts. But if Bitcoin wanted smart contracts, you think that they are going to be able to start from scratch, or they're going to be looking at this stuff, this research, this proven stuff, these proofs, public, open source, look at the SIPs model, reference inputs. Plutus scripts can inspect transaction input without needing to spin them. This means that it's not necessary to create UTXOs, simply to inspect the information held by an input. So that's efficiency right there. And you can look at the SIPs number right there. It's open source. You can see the people working on it. You can see the work being done. There's nothing hidden. This is for the world. This is for everyone. Plutus Datums, I hope I'm saying that right. Datums can be attached directly to outputs instead of datum hashes. This simplifies how datums are used, as a user can see the actual datum rather than having to supply the datum to match the given hash. So this is really technical in nature, but we're just going to go through it anyway. Script sharing, excuse me, SIPs 0033. Plutus scripts reference can be associated with transaction outputs, meaning that they can be recorded on chain for subsequent reuse. It will not be necessary to supply a copy of the script with each transaction, hugely reducing friction for the developers. Reusing scripts in multiple transactions significantly reduces transaction size, improving throughput, and reducing script execution costs. So this is just, again, this is efficiency. They're pulling out things that are, doubly used. Like, I don't know if you follow any of the development updates that I do, but when we went through the Paribus audit, there were commands that they had used that they didn't really need to use. They were referenced twice in places. So if you don't need to use something twice, you can just reference back to the original time it was run. Then you can save a little bit of space on the blockchain, or on the transaction on the block. So you can put more transactions there instead of having useless scripts running, if that makes any sense. Node enhancements, improvements will help even distribution of stake and reward computations across the epochs, thus providing greater headroom for block size increases. Also, memory usage is now more efficient. Memory compaction reduces RSS footprint, and memory sharing means we need less data instantation. Node version 1.330 from January 2022 reduces peak load at critical points, including the epoch boundary. A lot of jargon in there. Again, more just scaling, adding efficiency to the code. On disk storage. This is the good stuff, the important stuff. This is for, like, storing the entire blockchain. You'll be able to, like Charles said in the Dan interview, you'll be able to verify things without having to have the entire blockchain downloaded. That's what they're moving towards. By storing portions of the protocol state on disk, nodes will need to hold less in memory, meaning that RAM-constrained systems will be able to run nodes provided they have sufficient storage, and memory will no longer be the bottleneck on scalability. This will enable significant growth in the blockchain state. So instead of holding data in the RAM is random access memory, it's hard to get. So if hard drive space is a cost, right? It's expensive. RAM costs way more. 32 gigabytes of RAM is way more expensive than 32 gigabytes of disk storage. So just using that logic, there's efficiency right there. And the efficiency comes in the form of the machines or the hardware that the blockchain is running on. So you'll be able to get more bang for your buck out of your hardware and at the same time, bring up resources and memory for the blockchain itself. Off-chain solutions, sidechains. Now, this is the good stuff right here. A sidechain is a separate blockchain connected to the main blockchain. The main chain, also known as the parent chain. Through a two-way mechanism, the bridge that enables tokens and other digital assets from one chain to be used in another and results returned to the original chain. Assets can be moved between chains as needed. One single parent chain can have multiple interoperable side chains connected to it, which may operate in a completely different ways. EVM sidechains coming to Cardano include DC Spark's Milkomeda and IOG's Mamba. Haven't heard a ton about Mamba. Heard it mentioned by Charles in different videos. I think we should take a look more closely at Mamba in the future. Hydra, this is a big one that a lot of people are talking about. Introduces isomorphic state channels that maximize throughput, minimize latency, incur low to no cost, and greatly reduce storage requirements. Hydra provides a more efficient means to process transactions off-chain while using the main chain ledger as a secure settlement layer. Hydra is going to be big time. It's basically like a turbocharger to your blockchain. Offchain computing, offloading some of the computation, for example, with asynchronous contract execution, or ACE, can drive greater core network efficiency. Transactions occur outside of the blockchain itself, yet can offer fast, cheap transaction via a trust model. So this is going to roll into the sidechain conversation right here. So this is the communication between those layers. Offloading some of the computation to drive greater network efficiency. Transactions occur outside of the blockchain itself, yet can offer fast, cheap transactions via a trust model. That's cool. Mithril. To achieve greater scalability, you need to address the complexity of critical operations that depend on logarithmically on a number of participants. Mithril will improve the chain synchronization while maintaining trust. The result? Multi-signature aggregation that is fast and efficient without compromising security features. So that's your scaling while also holding up that security aspect of the trilemma. So this stuff is not developed as we run into problems. This was all planned from the start using research. That is why Cardano took so long to become what it is today. Ethereum kind of just jumped the gun, launched, had everybody doing their thing, which is good. They're literally holding the world on their backs right now. But the problem is they can't scale all of that. They can't scale that weight. It's not distributed properly across their shoulders. They're not getting a good workout. There's not a lot of efficiency. And you can tell that by the cost of transactions. Cardano's different. Cardano pre-planned all of this stuff. All of this stuff is pre-planned. This isn't just reactions to what's going on. And this is just a recap, a visual recap of what we talked about. Pipelining, improving block propagation times. Coalescing, validation, and propagation. The goal is for the block to be propagated to at least 95% of the peers within 5 seconds by reducing the dead time. So that's going to give you more reaction, more quicker response times in your wallet, seeing your assets, your transactions moving faster, the network just working better overall. Input endeavors, endorsers. Again, lots of technical stuff, lots of technical jargon, but it all is the same thing. Scaling everything up, building those additional lanes, planning for 5, building 3, right? Having space left over. The node enhancements, we talked about that, on disk storage, then the off chains, the side chains, Hydra, Milkomeda, Mithril. To achieve greater scalability, you need to address the complexity of critical operations that depend on, we already read through this. We read through all this already. I didn't really break it down, but this is just the graphic of what we read through. Kind of gives you a little visual. But yeah, this is heavy development stuff. But you know, they're scaling. Like I would like to use the highway example. The data, the towns, The small town is growing. We need to connect these towns by building a highway. We need to connect additional highways or service roads. Those are your side chains. You need to move. You may need more efficiency. Move them on the side chain. You want to wrapped assets. You want to move. You want wrapped BTC. You want wrapped Ethereum. You want wrapped data. You want to move from blockchain to blockchain, moving assets, transactions, and then be able to just quickly return those back when you're done with them. That's what that sidechain is about. You're going to scale sidechains as well. So look at Milkomeda. We want to look at the Mamba. Want to take a look at Mamba. Need to do a little bit more research on that. I'd like to do some videos on Hydra because these are really important ones here. Milkomeda, Hydra, Ace. Want to take a look at Ace, Mithril for sure. Want to learn a little bit more about that. So I'll do more videos. I'll do more research, upgrade myself, be able to bring that content to you in a kind of easier to understand way. A lot of this stuff, there's no way to really make it layman's just because it's so thick. But I'll try my best. But this is good. I really am happy. And, like a lot of people are saying, network congestion is going to get crazy. We've got a lot of people interested in Cardano now. DeFi is coming online. These projects are launching. There's going to be a lot of interest, a lot of institutional interest. They're scaling it, man. It's gonna be epic. 2022 is the year of DeFi on Cardano. It belongs to Cardano. Thank you again for checking out the video. Make sure you hit that like, share the video with your friends and family, hit the subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.